Today on Clear Your Clutter Inside and Out, we're talking about what we hope you learn by the time you're 50. Do you really mean what you say? Are you able to have good boundaries? What is an acceptable answer to any question or request? Learn some life lessons that you can apply at any age. Does your clutter own you? On Clear Your Clutter Inside and Out, we'll teach you how to become aware of your clutter along with action steps to declutter and create the life you desire. Come on, let's get started. Today's episode was inspired because a friend of high school was in the area and said, "Hey, and she had written, I'm sick or whatever, I have to go to the ER." And I was like, "Oh, hey, you're down in the area. She doesn't live here. If you need help, let me know." So she messaged me privately and said, "Thank you so much for that. Let's get together because I'm here for X number of days." And so I said, "Okay." I said, let's plan to get together soon. I'll make time. And then she kind of ghosted me, blew me off. And it is what it is. But then I thought to myself, and I'm thinking another friend. So this friend I've known since high school. I have another friend who says, "Let's get together, let's get together, let's get together, let's get together." Then, they disappear. And I've known this person since grade school. And so I was thinking about this. I'm like, come on, y'all are both 50. If you don't want to hang out with me, that's cool, but don't lie to yourself. Don't lie to me. And I know some of you might be thinking, Julie, the common denominator in this is you. It is. And if someone doesn't want to spend time with me, seriously, okay, it's no skin off my nose. I'm not devastated. I've done enough work on myself. I understand really clearly, even when I forget it, it's at the back of my mind. What others do and say is about them, and how I respond is about me. And so after this situation, someone in the area where I live started a women 50 and older group. And so I had posted, "What do y'all think women should know?" And this applies to men too, guys, for my male listeners, predominantly females that tune into this podcast. But I believe everything, no matter who you are, what you are, is good information. I ended up deciding to split this in 2 episodes. And so I took my thoughts and what people had posted, because I said, what do you think a woman should know by the time she's 50? So that has inspired today's episode. So we're going to go over 10 today and then 11. Number 1, based on the inspiration of today's episode, if you don't want to spend time with someone, don't say, "Let's get together." Don't keep the conversation going. Don't keep stringing someone along. And don't offer in the first place. And I'm not putting a judgment on this. I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but people don't deserve to be strung along. If you're saying you're saying, "Hey, I really want to do this," or "I want to hang out with you," and you don't, ask yourself why. And again, it's not just about getting together. It's if you are putting on this false front, saying you want to do something and you don't. That's about you. So that's an opportunity to say, why am I doing this? Did I tell her I wanted to get together because I still want to be liked by everyone? I don't want anyone mad at me. I want to be a people pleaser. Did I tell her that because I just feel so out of control in my life that I need to be a jerk and then find some way to feel a sense of power? Those are just 2 examples off the top of my head, but you can kind of see what I'm trying to get at. I am a huge fan of the 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, and I believe he's the junior, or just Don Miguel Ruiz. I know his son. I interviewed his son that wrote a book. But the 4 Agreements, small book, talk about a wealth of information. And his 4th agreement is be impeccable with your word. So this kind of relates to that. If you don't want to do something, you don't want to hang out with someone, be honest with them and be honest with yourself. The second, someone posted, "Forget all the shoulds and be in life and in the moment." It's kind of two, but we'll tackle it as one. I have spent too much time of my life, and this is why I do this podcast, because if I can save you from heartache, from not thinking something through, for giving you an aha moment that helps you embrace life, helps support you, then it's worth it for you to learn from, again, quote unquote, I don't like the word mistakes, because if we're learning, it's not a mistake. I spend a lot of time hanging out with the woulda, coulda, shouldas. What is it that you desire to do? What does your heart say? A lot of the woulda, coulda, shouldas are demands from others, expectations for others. They have nothing to do with you, because we can all manipulate. We can all manipulate others. And again, no shame, no right or wrong. It's just about awareness. So if someone's trying to manipulate you into something, forget that you should, out of obligation. I should do this because I'm a dutiful daughter. I should do this because I'm a dutiful wife. Let go of others' demands and expectations. And get out of your head and get into your body. Embrace your physicality and be in the present moment. When I was in high school, I suffered from being too skinny. I don't know if I would. They didn't know a lot about anorexia. They knew a little bit. I don't think it's as understood as much as it is back when I was in high school. And I was super thin. Like my hips, I had my bones stuck out. I was too thin no matter how you cut it. Maybe in Hollywood, I would have, they would have thought probably would have thought I was too fat in Hollywood, but don't want to use their standards. So anyway, I know for me that was about control, but I can tell you when I was in that situation, one of the things that it did is it separated my body, me from my body. It was like my spirit, I wasn't fully inside my body. And this is something I continue to work on whenever I get upset. If I'm eating emotionally, and I'm going to share this on another episode, I was so stressed, I quit eating. And I was joking with my husband. I said, we've surpassed the stress eating and we're now in the no eating. That tells me that I could barely eat, which told me I was incredibly stressed. But when you are in your body, in your physicality, then you can be more present. It allows you to be more present. When I used to, for a while, I had panic attacks. There was a stretch, and again, God love my husband because he was fantastic through it. But there was a stretch where I was having these panic attacks. And what I believe, and based on talking to people, is it's you're literally leaving your body. And again, I know that might be a strange concept because you're like, what, Julie, I'm here on earth. I'm physically here. I haven't died, but your spirit, is just left. So I'm not in my body. So one of the things, and this is, if you ever have a panic attack or an anxiety attack or with someone, then if my husband was there, he would literally physically hold me really tight, or you can wrap a blanket around yourself really tight. And what that does is that's kind of that sensory thing and helping you get back in your body. So the more you can embrace being in your body, the more you're going to be able to be in the present moment. Number 3, trusting your own instinct. Your intuition is there to guide you. It's there to protect you. I literally said to my husband, he just left 10 minutes ago, and I'm going to share more of what we're going through right now. And I said to him, I said, honey, I just had this feeling, this sensation throughout this entire process. And I wanted this to happen. I thought it was smart for us, blah, 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 all systems go. But there was something in my tummy that was like, and I'm going to examine that further. But I think that was kind of my intuition saying, okay, slow your roll. You need to really think through this. I can tell you numerous stories how my intuition has saved me. One time I was in Los Angeles and I was on the way to a job interview. And I heard, and if you've spent any time in Los Angeles, traffic's dreadful. I heard, move over now. And it was and I've talked about this, my intuition comes in a couple ways, but one way is through hearing, which just tells me that the universe has a sense of humor because I wear hearing aids. but I hear this loud and clear. So I just was like, okay, I didn't even question it, which was good, because literally 10 seconds later, the car behind me crashed into the car in front of it, which would have been me. Another time, I was in Hawaii and I was by myself. I had gotten laid off, and a friend from Vermont had just moved to Hawaii. And she's like, come on out. So I went out to Hawaii for 3 weeks, got to see a lot, but I spent some time with myself, by myself. I'm on a beach and I heard get up. And so I'm kind of isolated. There are people down further down on the beach, but I'm by myself. And finally, it was said it several times and scream, get up. I was like, holy cow. I mean, it sounded like someone was right next to me. I turn around, creepy man is half hidden behind the palm tree checking me out. So I just moved down the beach where I'm by people. The next day on the news, they talked about the beach where I was hanging out, a woman had been assaulted. I will, to my dying day, believe that my intuition saved me from being a victim of a crime. So figure out a way to trust your own instincts. You can start out small. There are lots of little things. Begin by asking yourself, what should I have for lunch? If you're choosing between grilled cheese and a salad. Okay, that might not be a great example because we should probably all choose a salad, but you know what? No, I'm gonna support myself on this because I'm sitting here, it's a rainy day. Today would be a good day for a grilled cheese. And as long as I'm not eating 50,000 grilled cheeses. So maybe your body you've been stressed out and your body needs that comfort food. Begin to trust your own instinct. Number 4, how to be honest. I might have to expand some of these into more in-depth episodes. This is not only with yourself, but with others. For example, I did a podcast episode on having difficult conversations. That's hard. It's hard sometimes being honest because the truth might not be easy to hear, or the truth might not be easy to deliver. But it's important to be honest with yourself and others. If you find yourself lying, this is one of those opportunities. What can I learn? Dig deeper, get to the why. Make sure that you don't put yourself in situations where you lie for others. I had a friend, and when I was living in Vermont, came to visit me, and I found out she was having an affair. And when they got together, I was the excuse. Oh, I'm going to go visit my friend Julie in Vermont. And I said, no more. I do not want to be a part of this. You do what you need to do, but you are bringing me into your lie, and I can't hang with that. And I believe she respected it and never used me as an excuse again. Maybe you lie because you're embarrassed. I had this when I first wrote this. I had this crazy dream. And I'm in this house, in this neighborhood, and these people are going to evaluate whether or not we get solar. And they ask if I know something, and I lie. And I say yes, having no idea what they're talking about. I later learn it's a TV show, and I say, well, there are just so many characters for me to remember. I don't know if I could tell you all their backstories or their names or whatever. Well, for me, that was about being embarrassed, right? I didn't want to be embarrassed. And at the time, I thought I potentially I'd already said some stuff very strongly worded on social media for the entire neighborhood to read. And I thought, oh, if I have to stand up. But I had lied because I was embarrassed. So learn why you're lying. And then again, start out being honest with yourself, how you're feeling today. Be honest with what your needs are. The more you take these little steps, the more you'll build on it. Number 5, understanding what you need. Podcast is all about clearing clutter. Be really clear on what you desire, right? Because when we clear that clutter, we can get that laser focus on what's important. Take the time to understand yourself and your motivations and what you really need. I was really, when I talked about 2018 was really tough. And I ate comfort food, I don't know, pretty steadily. There's a reason I call it comfort food, for 3 or 4 months. And I didn't get upset with myself because I knew there would be an end in sight. And what I needed was comfort. I needed comfort from friends. I needed comfort from Tony. I needed comfort from the cats. And I needed comfort from food. And I wasn't going to berate myself, get upset with myself, be angry, blah, 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 blah. Because I understood that in those moments, I needed as much comfort as I could get. And along with that, and understanding what you need, see if you can get from yourself what you seek from others. I thought for a really long time that I needed a man to make me happy. And part of me is embarrassed, but I thought, you know what? I share that because I know I'm not alone. And what I learned was I needed to make myself happy because Tony and I aren't always going to agree on anything. I mean, truthfully, we really argue. We're pretty good about talking things out when we, disagree. We're having this conversation and I've already been like, you know what, the ship has sailed. Let's move forward. And he's still waffling a little bit. So we're going to talk about it and that's okay. But I understand that the only person that can make Julie happy is Julie. And so the more I can, I'm trying to give myself what I expect others to give me. And again, that's not about me coming this island because I believe we're all part of the oneness, but it's about understanding what I need and discernment. Is that something I can give myself? Is that an unrealistic expectation for me to expect my husband to be in charge of my happiness? I'd say yes to that it's an unrealistic expectation. So be clear and understand what you need and what you can provide yourself. Does the thought of clearing your clutter overwhelm you? Clear Your Clutter Inside and Out has 21 standalone chapters to fit your schedule and lifestyle. Stop being afraid, gain clarity, and go at your own pace. The Clear Your Clutter Inside and Out workbook lets you record your thoughts step by step as you go through the book. Free MP3 meditation with purchase. Get control of your clutter so your clutter doesn't control you. Reclaim time, money, sanity, and resources. Learn more at reawakenyourbrilliance.com and also available for purchase on Amazon. Number 6, how to love yourself. I know I've talked about this, but this got tons of hearts and likes on Facebook. And since so many people like that, that's important. And you know what? Truthfully, I think that this is something you can never be reminded of too much. I haven't found anyone that I think loves himself too much. Now you might say, yeah, what about a narcissist? Well, but is that really real good love? I'm going to argue no. Because most of us don't know how to love ourselves. And if you are pretty good with it, and I know this is an area that I continue to work on improving, look at each other. You may be rocking it and being like, dang, I am an amazing entrepreneur. But you don't love how your body looks. Or you think my nose is too big or my thighs are too big or whatever. So you're pretty self-satisfied and loving yourself in your career, but not in your body. Or maybe you love your intelligence and you know that you are an expert in your area, but you feel like in your relationships, you don't love yourself enough and you allow people to treat you in ways that aren't kind. So that is something, what can you do? What single thing can you do to love yourself? And I'm telling you, talk about something to help clear your clutter, to support you in clearing your clutter. When you love yourself, you're not going to tolerate crap. You really aren't. One of the things I've struggled with is after I started dating my husband, that was really a big deal for me because he taught me how to receive love. He taught me to love myself, and I believe vice versa. But that made me realize, you know what? I'm not going to put up with junk anymore. And I really let a lot of people go in my life, and I'm grateful for that. So what single thing can you do every day to love yourself? Number 7, time flies, savor the moments. That's so true, so true, especially the older I get. My father and my parents, my mother, I am so grateful for them. And Tony and I have been incredibly stressed out, and to have my father as a resource, we are so grateful and so blessed to have. And while going through that, I was like, I can't imagine him not being around. As much as I believe that life continues, and I do, and that my father will take a spiritual form, as will my mother and everyone else, I don't look forward to the day when I can't ask him for advice. I really appreciate the time more. I appreciate hanging out with the cats on a Sunday afternoon, having the football game on. Well, I love playing games with my husband. I love doing escape room with friends and being completely in the moment. I look at my nieces and nephew. Where did the time go? Time goes by quickly, my friends, and I know that most of you know that. So savor the moments. And I believe what you'll find is the little things add up to be really, many times, just as significant as some of the big moments. So don't rush through life. I think one of my things that makes me sad looking back on my life is, and I understand it was to avoid the truth, avoid the pain, but I just kind of rushed through stuff. And so I'm really working on savoring every single moment. Number 8 was probably my favorite on this list that someone posted. No is an acceptable answer to any question or request. How great is that? You do what you desire. Don't let others guilt trip you for saying no. Did a presentation, in short one, only 20 minutes, as a part of a health fair kind of day. And so they wanted me to connect physical to emotional clutter. And 20 minutes really isn't a lot of time to speak. You know, you listen to these podcasts, some tend to be around 20 minutes, 25, 30. And so I was like, okay, I'll pick 3 topics. And I thought, well, what's important? I thought, saying no, talking about that. It's hard to say no. I won't allow you to treat me this way. People want us to be silent and shut up and not stand up for ourselves. The more I pay attention, the more I see this. No, you cannot treat me this way. You might think you can, but you can't. So no is an acceptable answer to any question or request. You do what's important to you, and anyone who loves you and respects you will be okay. The others that try to push you, you really need to consider the role they play in their life and how much time and interaction you want to have with them. Number 9, know how to set healthy boundaries. And I love this second part that the woman posted, be confident in sustaining them. Boundaries can be hard. Boundaries can be hard. When I had all this stuff going on, I was sick to my stomach because I was setting such an important boundary. One of the benefits I get from doing this podcast, besides supporting you all, or I hope to believe I'm supporting you all in some way, is to support myself. Because as I share this with you, it is lessons for me, it is reminders for me, it is, I include me too when I'm offering suggestions. It's hard to be like, uh-oh, people aren't going to like me. I've been feeling that. I'm like, oh, I have angered some people in the neighborhood. But I'm telling you, when I step back, I'm like, you know what? If they can't understand this from our perspective, if they aren't concerned with how they treated that could happen to them, thank you for removing them from my life. Thank you for having them be angry with us, because I don't want any part. I consider that a gift, but it's not easy. I once I did babysitting, and I love kids. And when I was living in Los Angeles, I used to babysit for this doctor. And he was divorced, and he and his girlfriend at the time, went to Africa. I watched the kids, and I went down to his, LA's huge. So they lived in Redondo Beach, went to the house, blah, blah, blah. And I'm awesome. Like, I'd cook them homemade meals. I was really good. And the divorce was bad. There was lots of stuff going on. The mother wasn't in a good space. The father, I think, checked out. And I felt responsible for these kids. It wasn't my responsibility, not at all, but I could just tell that they were neglected. So, neglect and abuse doesn't have anything to do with your socioeconomic status. And so I'll never forget, I loved the extra money. I definitely was when I was a executive assistant. But then I'd have to ask again and again and again to get paid. And, when we have a cat sitter, we leave the check. I date it for the day we leave. You want to wait, you want to cash it now, the middle of the weekend, whatever. So I made my friend sit and hold my hand when I called him, and I said, I think I'd said I don't know if I'd canceled or he had asked me, and I said, I need to think about it. And because it was setting a boundary, like, I think he was shocked and he was like, okay, but I said, I'm done. It's, I shouldn't have to beg for you to pay me. And if you paid someone quote unquote professional, you'd be paying a lot more. So you can do boundaries, and the more you do it, the easier it becomes. And it's going to be tough at first, but set your boundaries and have confidence in maintaining them. And the last one for today, number 10, know you're beautiful and strong. Now, my version of this would probably be you're good enough, worthy enough, and love, but I love this too. I believe it's not just for women. I believe it's really ramped up for guys, comparing how attractive we are with a bar set by a bunch of ad execs that probably couldn't meet their own scale. I would have loved to not have spent all the time I did on thinking I wasn't thin enough, that I wasn't pretty enough. Gosh, the amount of time and energy I spent doing that. Know that you are beautiful, and you're a lot stronger than you know. Trust me. I have continued to learn this lesson. You are stronger than you give yourself credit for. You will keep learning. The more you put yourself out there, the more you stand up for yourself, the more you set your boundaries, that you are strong, you are capable. You really are. There are things that I thought, oh my gosh, no way. I would have never imagined doing the internet TV show Reawaken Your Brilliance. I'm not in front of the camera, I'm behind the scene. Ooh. I would have never imagined myself doing public speaking. As much as I desired a right to write a book, at one point, oh gosh, that's a lot. I don't think I can do that. You are a lot stronger than you know, and you are beautiful exactly the way you are. I know you've got this, and you can handle anything thrown your way. Take actions from today's podcast. Be clear and direct with people. Say bye-bye to the woulda, shoulda, couldas. Trust your instincts. Be honest. Understand what you need. Savor the moments. Realize no is an acceptable answer to any question or request. Set healthy boundaries and be confident when you maintain them. Know you're beautiful and strong. Go out, clear your clutter to create the life you choose, deserve, and desire. Clearing your clutter allows you to share your gifts with the world. Get your free self-assessment to discover your clutter priority at reawakenyourbrilliance.com. If you've enjoyed Clear Your Clutter Inside and Out, please rate, review, and share us.